Hello and welcome to the Extremis Publishing Podcast. I'm Tom Christie. And it's a great pleasure to be joined today by a friend of the podcast, and that is Mr. James Herriot, who has just written a brand new book, Insights to Kitchen Design. Now, if, like me, kitchen design or even interior design is an entirely new topic for you, you will find much to enjoy in this amazing book, which will take you through some incredible transformations. And when people talk about transforming interior spaces, this book really will take you to the furthest extreme of that expression, because you simply won't believe some of these places are the same as the end product which is presented in this book. So, James, thank you so much for having joined us today.
A pleasure, Tom.
So what can you tell us about this exciting project? What are the origins behind it?
I thought that's a question you might ask. So I'm going to pinch something here from when we set the company up 40 odd years ago from scratch. And I stood down as company chairman 18 months ago. And at the time when I spoke to the board, I put my thoughts and intentions together. And one of the points I made at the very end was that I have a wish to put something back into the business and industry that supported me over many years. And with regard to that, I put down something else a little bit later. And I genuinely feel a responsibility and obligation to all those who've played their part in the success of our enterprise. The staff, Callerton's national network of design-led kitchen specialist retailers, suppliers and service providers, hence my enduring belief and support for the business. In relation to putting something back to the industry, I hope my book, Insights to Kitchen Design, inspires others. Also, it would be nice to see the industry training and education develop further. So the book really is what I want to impart is hopefully as much to people who want to join our industry. It's a fascinating industry, and I've watched it develop over 40 years, and trying to, as I say, impart, there's always something new, there's always something happening. And if people, to have a job where you engage with people, you really get to know them. If you're a design-led kitchen specialist, you can change the way people live. And that's what I've tried to do with Insights, is to get across what's involved in handling a project. It's so much more. People think it's just putting a bit of furniture into a kitchen. The secret is to actually look at how people live. Look at their property. How can you change it? It may be a new build. It may be adding an extension. It may be an existing setup. But by moving a door, moving a window, it's so many things that you do. And then it comes to, well, what's the design? Is it going to be classic? Is it going to be contemporary? Is it going to be a crossover hybrid? Is it going to be industrial? It's honestly, the options are vast. And as you've seen the book, Tom, I think, hopefully that's what I've tried to impart with Insights. It is an insight into our industry and the skill and ability of the people who are, true design-led kitchen specialists. That's maybe more than you needed there, but hopefully that gives you an insight to it all.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is an amazing insight, because with these high-resolution colour photographs that you provided for the various different designs that have been implemented, I think people will have a feel for what it's like to live in those spaces and to imagine themselves, what it might be like. So with that in mind, having been involved in the kitchen design industry for more than 40 years, as you mentioned, you must have career highlights that you would like to discuss. What would you say are the proudest achievements that you can point to in those 40 years that you would really, really want to draw attention to?
Now that puts me on the spot. A very early one as I say, the company celebrated 40 years since we started it from absolutely nothing. I suppose the proudest one is being in business 40 years later, and the business being on a totally different level to what it was. We manufactured and sold directly to our target market at that time, but now we actually have a deep national dealer network of 40 or so independent design-led kitchen specialist retailers. So we operate from Aberdeen down to Surrey, the Midlands. We're all over, and we operate a factory with 50 odd staff in operating out of Sunderland. So it's a very, very different business to what it was. And I'm incredibly proud of our staff, my colleagues. You can't run a business with one person. It's such a team effort. So that would have to be something I put forward. But specific highlights, years ago, I think our second year, we entered a BBC television competition called Make It in Business, and we actually won it. And that gave us an insight to the importance of communication and marketing and whatever, which was very new to us at that time. What else? Oh, it's, I suppose, the proudest thing is actually the many, many clients that I personally have dealt with over the years. And I meet people. I recently met someone. I was going for a walk just down from my house here in the Borders. And this chap came up and said, "You're James Herriot, aren't you?" And he said, "You did my kitchen 35 years ago." and he said, "We still love it." Now, that's great design. And I think, it's that listening to people, it's understanding what they want. And it's the joy of taking a project from start to finish. And a strapline we use and have done for years is turning dreams to reality. And that's most likely the proudest thing is meeting clients who love their kitchens years on. And I'm lucky enough, or have been lucky enough, to go around the country and meet clients from our different retailers. And, the photography that you talked about, I often used to go to the photo shoot. So you meet the clients, and, when you see how proud they are and pleased with what they have, that's a sort of major, it's got to be most likely the biggest thing of my 40 years involvement.
So turning that question on its head, you must have come across a number of projects which were particularly challenging, perhaps due to time pressure or logistical issues, or perhaps other considerations. What can you tell us about your most difficult projects over the years?
Logistics wise, and in lots of ways, after the Falklands War, nothing could come in through South America, and everything was coming over mainly from Britain. And we ended up supplying kitchens, not only kitchens, we actually kitted out a hotel on Sea Lion Island off the main Falklands Island. And so the logistics of design, project management and everything else was vast. So that was a very early lesson in learning all sorts of things. I think I'm not sure I can beat that one. So supplying kitchens to the Falkland Islands was a major one.
Yeah, it sounds like a challenge even today, in peacetime.
Well, we were young and stupid in those days. Take on anything.
Well, one thing that's really clear from your book is the value that you place in working well in collaboration with colleagues, as well as other industry professionals, and most especially with your clients. What do you think is the the secret to this kind of successful professional networking?
I think the biggest one is the ability to listen. It's in the book, one section of the book, I actually liaise with 10 different designers over 10 different projects, and my interest was to see how they responded, how they went about handling a project. And I think one lovely one was someone saying, well, I always listen, it's 2 ears, 1 mouth. I thought that was a very, the secret is engaging with people and truly understanding where it is they're coming from. And that's true of whether that be suppliers or service providers. It's a major thing. So I'm not sure if that answers your question or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's such an interesting thing because, I mean, it really jumps out from the book, the fact that you value your colleagues, you value the other industry professionals with whom you've worked, but the clients as well all seem to have a really very valuable and positive professional relationship with you as you go through this design process with them.
As I say, 10 of the kitchens are projects that I've handled, and 10 are from 10 individuals. And so it's not just about me. It really is. It's the raison d'etre of a good design-led kitchen specialist. It's not something just I have. It's very much what our industry and business is all about. And so yeah, it's empathy. It's as I say, listening to people. It's doing what you say you're going to do. Far too many people in this life will tell you they're going to do something, and they don't. When you're handling a kitchen project, it starts from it may be a brand new house, so it's a blank piece of paper and a site, and you've got to take that project right the way through, and you're dealing with so many different people. So relationships and partnerships are absolutely critical to our industry.
Now, it must be mentioned, you recently earned the honour of receiving the 2023 Services to the Industry Award from James R.A. in recognition of your lifetime achievement in setting standards for quality, customer service, and establishing positive industry partnerships. How did that feel, to have received such prominent recognition for all your professional efforts over the years?
Well, it was at Wembley Stadium. It was an amazing venue, and it turns out I was there with my colleagues under completely false pretenses, and was there hopefully to see another colleague from one of our dealerships win a prize. Unfortunately, he was one of 3 but didn't. And then later on, I suddenly found I'm listening to Martin Allen Smith, the editor of the magazine, and I'm suddenly going, I think I know where this is going. And I was blown away. It not so much just for me, it was very much it's 40 years of working with past and present members of our company and so many people around the industry. And 20 years ago, I was chairman of our national association. I've been lucky enough to mix with so many people, and really they've played a massive role in me getting that. Without them, it would never have happened. So I really feel it wasn't about me, it was about all my friends and colleagues around the industry. But yeah, it blew me away. I wasn't expecting it.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, because I know we've touched on it earlier, the importance of camaraderie, all the various different industries that make kitchen design work, and also your own achievement. It's interesting to see everything coming together in that way.
It's well, an interesting story for you is when I was chairman of our national association, they up to that time they'd always had the annual general meeting and function, and it was always held in this country. I had an amazing team underneath me, directors in the association. And anyway, we went to Cannes the first year, we went to Amsterdam the second year, and we went over to Dublin for the third year. Now, I think that tells you a little bit about the friendship and fun and all sorts of things that I've been lucky enough to be involved with. So that maybe paints a bit of a picture of what our industry is about. It's an amazing industry, Tom.
Yes, it really is. I mean, that comes alive on every page of your book, and I think it's an extraordinary picture that you paint, which I think people will really enjoy relating to when they see it. Now, your book does make it clear that the kitchen design industry is always developing and evolving and meeting new challenges. And with new techniques and materials becoming available over the past decades, and I dare say so much more to come, what do you think lies in store for the industry in the years ahead?
Oh, I mean, I've seen a massive, massive change from 40 years ago where, things were really very basic, and what we can do now with design and style and form and function is quite amazing. I mean, and in the book, that's what we try to show. I mean, one aspect of the book is that within each one of the projects that we've followed, we've then actually done 2 alternative designs using CAD software. In fact, when we first started, that was like something off the moon, but it just shows the depth and breadth. So one area is design, and it's the breadth of opportunity and how different it can be. I mean, one client may want it totally minimalist and contemporary, another wants it incredibly classic, traditional, and there's all the other aspects in between, and that's what we've tried to show in the book. So one area is design. Design has moved on, and it moves on all the time. Ours is a fashion industry, and that'll continue to happen. But I think the other massive one relates to technology. I look at, we used to put an oven, a dishwasher, a fridge in, and a hob and an extractor, and it was now, I mean, they can be completely computerized and run from elsewhere. You can have a camera in your fridge so you can check at the office what you have or haven't got, and that is just, for someone of my age, I've been in work for 50 odd years, to watch the change. When I went to school, we didn't have computers. There wasn't such a thing, or the internet or anything. So, and that's going to keep developing and changing. I think, there's fascinating things happening within that. I think the other major one is going to relate to, being eco-friendly, how you go about utilizing the products, how you make products. I mean, there are new materials, and how, which materials we should use and not use, how we manufacture it. With regard to manufacture, we've recently installed a massive sort of biomass project that, means that cuts down on our waste, it supplies our heating, and it's all these type of things, that 40 years ago, they just weren't on the radar at all. So the world, the whole kitchen world is changing, and I see, there's a lot of excitement, exciting projects that are going to come up as we go ahead.
I mean, it reminds me of back in the 80s and early 90s when the Commodore Amiga was, very much the design computer at the time, when TurboCAD came out, and people were saying, oh, this is never going to catch on. And yet we're at a stage now where you can take a photograph of a room with a mobile phone, and there's applications that can show you where furniture will go and what will fit and what won't. I can only begin to imagine what the next 40 years is going to bring.
Yeah, I would like to think, there are programs now that will take the room and put a design into it. That loses the personal bit. And my real belief is, a design-led kitchen specialist. Yes, we use computerization. Yes, we use CAD, but it takes so much more than that to, as you've seen within the book, kitchens are moved from one end of a house to another or whatever. I'm sure AI and things will do lots of things, but I don't think we're anywhere near the stage where suddenly the computer's going to do it all and really answer what the clients want. The skill, ability, and ingenuity of the true design-led kitchen specialist. I think we can outdo a computer, or the good ones will outdo a computer, for a while yet, hopefully.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I don't think anything will replace the human touch or human inspiration. And as I think it was Star Trek's Mr. Spock once pointed out, computers might be useful assistants, but you wouldn't want them to rule you,
I agree with that. And coming from a world where they didn't exist, it is amazing. I mean, they are such an amazing tool for me personally, but also, for our industry and everything. Our factory operates absolutely through, the designs are put together by human, but you're then putting it into a computer that allows you to show people what the end result is going to look like. But then it actually, you use that to specify, code it, cost it, order it, and then it feeds all the individual computerized machines. I mean, it's if you told me it was going to be like this 40 years ago, I wouldn't have believed it.
Well, it would be remiss of me not to ask. Now that you've shared with us your incredible overseas journeys in the sabbatical, and you've also shared with us your insights into kitchen design, what's next for the literary adventures of James R.A. Herriot?
Oh, dear me. Well, as we're just launching this one, I think, my wife might kill me if I say I'm going to start another one tomorrow. But I've got a few ideas bubbling about, and they may have nothing to do with travel or kitchens or whatever. I have lots of different interests, so you'll have to wait and see, Tom.
Well, I'll certainly look forward to that conversation when the time comes. But with regard to this particular project, James, thank you so much for having joined us to discuss what has been a really fascinating project. I can't begin to say just how amazed I was by the incredible transformations that you depict in this book, the various different living spaces which have been changed beyond measure. But just as important as that, the importance that you place on people working together in harmony to produce such incredible results. So congratulations again on your award win, and also congratulations on this fantastic book.
Thanks, Tom. I should also add, I'd like to thank, you and Julie and everyone at Extremis, in that, without you, the sabbatical would never have been published without your belief in it. And two, now Insights to Kitchen Design. My teachers from school would be absolutely blown away to think that, this academic reject could actually be a two-time author. So thank you to you and Julie.
You're very welcome, and thank you, because we certainly look forward to working with you again on future projects. But for the time being, thank you so much for having joined us today and for sharing your thoughts about this fantastic new book.
Thanks again, Tom.
And thanks to everyone at home for listening. I hope that you'll tune in again soon.
If you would like to find out more about advertising on the Extremist Publishing podcast, please visit their website at www.extremistpublishing.com for details.